Okay, so this is our first viola lesson. So since it's our first one, we're going to go over the basics. This is your bow, this is the viola, back here you have the shoulder rest, or chin rest, you know, all the strings, you have the fingerboard, the bridge, and your tuning pegs. Okay, so now that we have, you already have yours set up, and you know that you can adjust your shoulder rest, you can have like different chin rest you can get. So like one might feel more comfortable to you versus like another, like holding it like out more or like in closer to the center. Okay, I'm actually going to change this up a little bit. First, before we even tune, we're going to focus on holding the instrument. Yeah, you don't need your bow. So how this is going to work, we're going to work on like getting it like into the comfortable playing position. What you're going to do, get the instrument, like take it with both hands, place it on your shoulder. Yep, so like this curve should actually fit usually like right into the curvature of like where your collarbone and your neck and all of that come to meet. So you're going to place that right there. You're going to lift up your head. You're going to turn it slightly. It's not going to be 45 degrees completely. It's going to be a little under that. And then you're going to tuck the chin under. You're not going to like push. You're going to almost just kind of like, just let it drop. And then maybe pull in a little bit. And that should feel pretty comfortable. It might not, because like that might be like a little bigger than what you might use, or like the chin rest or whatever might not be the most comfortable, but does it feel pretty comfortable?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So this is going to be your that's going to be your basic position when you're holding the instrument. Yeah. Now, when you're getting into holding, like you're getting ready to play or whatever, you don't want to do this and then oh no, that's not good, or this is no, we gotta keep fixing it. You want to just be able to just go right into it and be, yep, that's pretty good. There's a game like in some of the classes or some of the videos that we have to watch, they have to do some video, like games and everything to like practice these kinds of things, and they have one called the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
So you hold it out like this, bring it in and out and in, and then like they also usually use the bow too, so they can get right into doing that. But that's a good way to practice being ready to getting right into playing, being ready to go. And there's also like the rest position. So it changes depending on whether you're sitting or you're standing. For when you're standing, there are two different ways. You could hold the neck, you hold it with your left hand, obviously. Probably should have talked about that when we first started, but whatever. Hold it in your left hand. You can either hold it on your left side, just like holding it straight up, or you can take your right hand, tuck it under your right arm, and do it like this. There's some people, they have different preferences. I usually hold it like this, but I know other people do it like that. Actually, it's kind of the same way when you're sitting. Like you can hold it like this, or you can tuck it under your arm. So whatever's a preference for you. Or if you're a teacher, you might specify everyone do one so it looks more uniform and not just like, oh, Johnny's getting comfortable. Okay, so you look to be pretty comfortable holding it. So now we're going to get into your left hand. Now, when you're holding, like not in the rest position, like if you're just playing, you want your hand to feel very loose. You don't want it to feel like it's gripping the neck. So it should feel very free. You should be able to, I should be able to move this, move your arm. Oh, yeah, see, like you're gripping. You see how you're gripping the side with your thumb? You don't want to do that. You should be able to just slide up and down, just like the cello. It's no different. Yeah. And your right hand, did she talk about like where like it should be contacting?
Just like an X right here.
Yes, yeah. You want to make sure that it's right about at the base joint. You should be able to, like, if there's like a X on there, you should be able to see
Right.
the X as you're moving. And then, yep, in your thumb. If you didn't have a thumb, it shouldn't really affect your playing that much.
Right.
That's also, like, that's, a lot of people have trouble with, like, they'll grip the thumb. They'll grip their thumb to the side of the
I know, I
neck.
keep doing that.
And yep, well, and it, like, it creates so much tension. And, like, I even have this problem sometimes when I'm playing violin too. It'll hurt so much you can't practice or do anything. You're basically functionally useless.
Mhm.
So, I'll get to, okay, so with your fingers, you want to think of like creating little tabletops with them. So, you see like this is like a nice, they're all 90-degree angles, or it's like a square without the bottom part of the line.
Mhm.
And then you just apply that right to, yep, that looks really good. It's a little more square than if you're playing the cello, so yeah, you want it a little more like that. Good, and then if you like just put them on each string, good. That looks really good. Okay, so back to what I was saying earlier with the thumb tension. A good way to practice not having thumb tension, hold the instrument with this hand so you're not like gripping it with your neck.
Mhm.
And just pretend you're playing something without your thumb there. Just grip, and you'll see, like, especially when you're playing with a bow, like when you're using your bow, you get a semi-decent sound even without using the thumb. Adds a little extra tension. It's not really the right word because you don't want to create tension, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
Mhm.
And you'll see, like, and so I do this a lot too. Like, if I'm like, oh, this really hurts, I'm gripping too much, you just take your thumb off and play your little passage. And, yep, and this looks really good. And you don't want to keep your instrument tucked in to your side. You're actually not doing this, but in general, like, you don't want it like this, obviously,
Right.
but you want your arm should be about 90 degrees. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, on to the bow hold. So you can set your viola down for a second. Okay, yeah, hold your bow with your left hand. I was gonna okay, that's okay. So when you're holding the bow, your thumb, you see this little, it has like the curve, right, at the frog. Oh, this is called the frog, this is the tip.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, and right about here, in between this, where the ebony ends and the grip start, so there's that little free spot of where there's just the stick. It's about where you want your thumb to go. And then your middle finger should be directly above it. And then your other finger should be about, your ring finger is going to be a little closer space to, your middle finger than your pinky.
Mhm.
The pinky, it's not going to be over this part, but it's not going to be directly on your fourth finger. It's going to be actually about like where the front, like the ebony part ends. That's good. That's kind of a good place to place your pinky. And then your first finger is going to be leaning a little bit about where the grip ends, and then the middle part also starts right about there. That looks, see, you don't have that, but it has like, this part is like textured and this is a smooth part, so that's kind of like the same thing.
Right.
And you have the pinky up, which is good. You don't want, like there's like that one kind of cello hold where like all your fingers are over like that. You don't want that. So it's kind of like the same bow hold like that. It looks really good. And your fingers should be able to move. You don't want to, it's not a death grip. You're not looking to beat somebody with your bow. It should be very flexible. Yeah, that looks pretty good. You should be able to, want to just try like moving your hand. And then your thumb bent also. Do you want to keep that bent? You don't want it pushed out like that because we don't need that much tension. That looks pretty good. Let me grab a pencil. So there's a good way to practice this. Even when you don't have your instrument, you can still practice bowing. My teacher taught me this when I first came here, and I do it all the time. Okay, so here's a pencil. This is obviously not the same setup as a bow, but you should still be able to practice your bow hold. You can practice air bowing with your pencil. You can practice actually like moving the bow. This is something, yep, you want to let your fingers drop. So this is going to be like if they're all the way, if you're playing and you're really near the frog. And then you go and you do a nice little down bow, and your fingers are going to be more, yes, just like that. You can practice this, or if you don't want to make it so obvious, you could just take your pencil while you're sitting in theory and just do the motions. You don't even have to move your whole arm when you're doing that. And just make sure to keep your thumb bent. Doing this will really this actually really does help. I'm not just doing this to be stupid.
Okay.
So, you don't even need your instrument to be a good practicer. Okay, so now you're going to want your instrument and your bow. We're not going to get to tuning yet, but okay, so get in playing position. You actually don't need your hand up by here. You can just grip it on the side. And you have your bow hand. You have your you want to place your bow perpendicular to the strings. So near here, yeah. It's a good way to practice having a straight bow. Always just practice in the mirror, stare, spend your entire practice session just looking right in the mirror. Or if you don't, if there's not a mirror, you can record yourself at eye level or instrument level. That's another way to see if whether your bow is deviating from a straight path. And why don't we experiment with bowing at different parts of, we'll start with first just the different parts of the bow. So let's start at the frog and just go on your D. Yeah, you can just stay right at the frog and just do short bows. And now towards the middle. Yep, go play right out. They're here to hear you, not me. And now the tip. Now which one felt easiest?
The middle.
Yeah, the middle should feel, that's where you have the most control because that's where the balance point is, right? And the tip's a little bit easier. You can play soft. It's easier to play softer there, right? Yeah. So, and another thing that's going to affect your lovely, beautiful viola sound is where you're placing your bow, whether it's closer to the fingerboard or it's closer to the bridge. Now, where do you think would have the best sound?
The middle.
Yeah. But just for fun, let's experiment. Why don't we, start in the middle. Yep. And just, right at D. Just do a nice full bow. And close to the bridge. Really, close. And close to the fingerboard. Now that one didn't actually sound that bad, did it? It just sounds a lot quieter. But the tone isn't as rich and beautiful, and then this sounds super scratchy up here, which sometimes that's how you want it to sound, but for the most part, you're going to want to stay perpendicular and right in the middle, which you're doing quite wonderfully. Okay, So you don't have any assigned rep, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, did you guys do any scales?
No, we didn't do the scale. I mean, she just has us doing like the, like just getting used to playing on like open strings and stuff, so just like the,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, why don't we do that?
okay.
Okay.
And then like she taught us which, like reading wise, which ones are open strings and
Mm-hmm.
so.
Yeah, actually, why don't we go to tuning next, because that's, before you play, you obviously don't want to be able to tune. So why don't we come right over to the piano? Okay, I will play. Okay, when you're a teacher, you're gonna want to, you're gonna obviously want to be tuned before you start tuning your students.
Mm-hmm.
What they do in like this video that we're watching is they'll help them tune. Like they'll have them play the open strings, and then you can tune their little
Right.
fine tuners and everything. But you obviously don't have those. You have the
Yeah.
perfection effects, right? Okay, so I will tune mine here. No, we can just tune here. Okay. Here's- Okay, and from there, you can tune in fifths. So, Dr. Tramposh once said, it should sound like the heavens and the sun's coming out from behind the clouds when the fifths are like,
Ugh.
yeah, so not
Not
like
like
that.
Ugh.
That's a little hard for me. So go a little higher. That's pretty close. And like when you're practicing, you can try tuning it in fifths, and then do you have like one of those tuners that
Mhm.
yeah, and then you can test yourself and see how you did, and then
Okay.
eventually you'll get pretty good at it. But so why don't we play now? We'll just do. I'm not gonna be matched to your sound, and I don't want to tune this because they're a pain to tune.
Mm.
But let's see. But so why don't you just practice playing? We'll do like Mississippi stop. We'll do that on each string. You can first do it. You're gonna do it 3 times on each string. First in the frog, second in the middle, and then third in the tip, and just practice doing that on each string.
Starting on which one?
A.
Okay.
Go down and then come back up.
Oh, starting from the frog. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then to the next one.
Yep. Good. Okay, you don't have to go back up. That was pretty good for the most part. Your A and your D were excellent. The G and C, you got a good sound out of those. So when you're doing these, you're like testing them at the different spots in the bow. What is that helping you practice?
The dynamic things, or like where the bow goes?
Yep. Like where your bow goes, like the straightness. You're practicing like your elbow, like your right arm, because like you're not gonna play like this, obviously, right? It also, yeah, that's the main thing I wanted you to get from that is your elbow has to, like your whole arm has to adjust when you're playing on that, when you're playing on the different strings. You were pretty good on these strings until you got to the tip, which was harder, understandably. Your arm isn't going to, like you're playing like this, like if you're playing at the tip, and then like you get to the middle, your bow, what you're doing is you're pulling your arm in. You almost want it to go more out. See how like my arm is extending out farther when I'm up here versus like, see like, yep, that's a straight bow. Here, why don't, I'm gonna guide you in drawing a straight bow. See how that felt different from what you were doing? Your arm has to straighten out more and it goes more farther in front of you. The versus just coming out like this, and you didn't have that problem until you got to the tip at the G and the C.
Okay.
So you're at a pretty good start. So I think you're doing good in that aspect. Do you have any questions, or like is there anything you don't understand or anything you want to go over?
Not really.
Okay.
I'm getting used to everything.
Yep, like you're doing really good. If you just keep practicing, it's going to get a lot easier, and eventually it's just going to feel secondhand.
Okay.
And then obviously, like when you get more rep and stuff, like when you go deeper into playing, there'll be more things we can cover. But I think this was a pretty good first lesson.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for